Sometimes we can guilt ourselves out of blessings and receiving different things. I know I recently had went through, a situation, and there was something that I wanted, but there was another party also, pretty much in the running for the same thing. And I started to get myself out of it because I felt like, well, they're a better Christian than me, and I know the mistakes I made. Even though we really don't really know how someone else really is, I started to see them as a better Christian, and they haven't made some of the mistakes I made. And I started feeling really guilty within myself about some of the stuff I did. And I was pretty upset about it. And later that day, a few hours later, I was led to read something in Romans 8. And I wasn't looking for it. I didn't know what was coming from. Now, I'm reading from the Living Bible translation, and it was in Romans 8, which most people are pretty familiar with what's said in that chapter. But in verse 30, I read it, and I was pretty upset, like I said. And in this translation, it says, "And having chosen us, he called us to come to him. And when we came, he declared us not guilty." Now, I had to read that over, highlight it, and underline "not guilty." And in that moment, just through revelation, God began to show me, you've been forgiven. When we ask God, for forgiveness, then we have to believe and accept that he's forgiven us. And he declared us not guilty. So guess what? When God declares us not guilty, no one else has the advantage because they haven't made the mistakes we've made. Once God has declared you not guilty, it's an even plane. There is no advantage that someone else has over you. We've all done things wrong, and we've all made mistakes. But God said, as far as the east is from the west, that's how far he's driven our transgressions away from us. Once we've accepted that and we've repented and we've come to God for forgiveness, that's what the blood does. The blood covers us. And when God looks at us, he sees the blood of Jesus. He doesn't see our mess. So I realized I have the advantage. No one has an upper hand over me because of the mistakes that I've made. Because once God declared me not guilty, that was it. There's no room to be feeling sorry for yourself. There's no room to be feeling guilty. And you might be going through something right now where you feel guilty or you're not qualified because of the mistakes you made, and you might feel like you're not good enough or another person is better. But guess what? Once you and God have had that personal moment, once you've had that time where you came to God and you confessed your faults to him, he's faithful and just to forgive you. You don't have to feel like someone has an upper hand over you or someone else will receive more favor than you because they didn't make the mistakes that you made. For our sake, for his own sake, God has blotted out our transgressions and he does not remember them. And he said it's for his sake. And just to reference that, if you need it, that's in Isaiah 43:25. So you can read that. For his sake, he doesn't remember him and he's blotted it out. And, when someone else tries to throw our sin back on us, they take our spot because now they're putting themselves under condemnation, because now where God has wiped you clean, they're putting their fingerprint on the crime. So you don't have to feel guilty about what you've done. Once God has forgiven you, he's declared you not guilty. The blood has made you clean. Don't feel like anyone has an advantage over you because of your past. The blood has washed us, and you can walk in victory. You can walk in your God-given authority, and you can believe for anything that your heart so desires. That's in line with the will of God, because he's declared you not guilty. You can go and be free.